Yeah, you see a recent comment by Prime Minister Imran Khan of Pakistan saying that foreign debt or external debt is actually a national security issue. I think finally he is coming around to accept that a country that runs on loans is not a country that can last for very long. Pakistan, you see, a lot has been said about the tax collection bit because that is where the IMF is pressurizing Pakistan, the government of Pakistan, before giving loans. I'll come back to that bit later, Bhavya, about how or what exactly IMF is doing and how the Pakistani media and the Pakistani people, they're taking it because it is being projected in such a manner. But the fact of the matter is that apart from the tax base, it's always good to have a wider tax base. We've faced this problem in India in the past. And Pakistan is, I think, facing that problem or has been facing that problem for a very long time. I think the real problem also is the fact that Pakistan has negligible exports. Pakistan doesn't make anything. It spends upward of $10 billion US on food. And this is a country that was a net exporter of food a few decades back. And today it's almost a net importer of food. In an economy that is largely agrarian, you see. It might have a few IT startups and a few IT companies. But the base of Pakistan's economy, the real base of Pakistan's economy is agriculture. And in such a case, Pakistan is suffering because it has very little to export. A couple of billions here and there, a few billions here and there, that's all. It does not have a mass export base. That's number one. Number two, also, the way, Imran Khan has said that it's a national security issue because Pakistanis fear that one day IMF is going to walk up and say, we need your nuclear assets. There is a phobia in the Pakistani mind that one day, there is a fear that one day somebody will walk up and say that you've taken these many billions of dollars in loans and now we'd like your nuclear assets. Now, I don't think IMF is interested in nuclear weapons of Pakistan or for any other country, or of any other country for that matter. But one thing is very clear. A lot is being told to Pakistanis every single day. They're telling, the media is saying that, the IMF is blackmailing us. It's not about blackmail. They're blaming the IMF for the price rise in Pakistan. They're saying that IMF has said increase 4 rupees petrol every month for the next 4 months. So it comes to some weird figure of 16 or 20 rupees overall price. Increase the price of gas, increase the price of electricity. But you know why? IMF does not say this to every country on earth. It says this to Pakistan because IMF, let us say, IMF says that we will give you, think of IMF as a bank. It's not a bank, but just for the sake of explanation, Bhavya, let's think of it as a bank. Let's say IMF does say that, Ji, theek hai, we'll give you these many $billion. They want to know how you're going to pay them back. That is the first thing that they'll ask. How do you plan on paying us back? Which any bank would ask. You take a loan from a bank, you have a house, you have a mortgage on a house. If you don't pay that, they'll take away the house. Similarly, for a car, they'll take away the car. All right? So this is something that Pakistan needs to understand. If Pakistan says that this is how we are going to pay back your money, nobody's interested in their, the fuel prices and all that. It's just that IMF is now managing Pakistan's economy because Pakistan is not able to manage its own economy. It's in a downward spiral. And Imran Khan has no idea how to stop this downward slide. And lastly, these conspiracy theories in Pakistan that the world is after us, and IMF is cracking the whip, so to say, because Imran Khan said absolutely not. It's got nothing to do, I think, with Imran Khan saying absolutely not or absolutely yes. Yeah. China is Pakistan's best friend. Go and ask China for money. Why should you ask the IMF? Think of the IMF as, for want of a better expression, like the old times, sahukar hote the, jo paisa dete the, money lenders, right? They will want the money back with interest. You can't borrow money, you can't keep on borrowing money without doing any structural reforms in the country at a mass level and then play victim. If you want to be outside the grip of the IMF, don't take money from the IMF. Take it from China, take it from XYZ. But then again, China has turned out to be a worst violator of Pakistan's sovereignty than even the IMF, because they've mortgaged all these airports to China. They've mortgaged all these motorways, these super highways that China built. Now that's all Chinese property now. So Pakistan needs to understand the fundamentals. It does not take a trained and qualified economist to figure out that Pakistan's economy is going down the drain very, very fast. Bhavya, good question. See, first of all, Pakistan's foreign policy is also responsible for this external debt. You know, we have discussed this in Checkmate in the past, and I will again say it. Pakistan has this issue here of thinking. It's a mental problem, it's a psychological problem, where they think that because their location is so great, you see, because the location is so great, people will be forced to support them. पाकिस्तान को ऐसा लगता है कि वो पाकिस्तान की मदद करना, पाकिस्तान को पैसा देना, ये दुनिया की मजबूरी है. That is what Pakistani, they don't realize that the world has changed, which is why General Bajwa, and I think General Bajwa made a lot of sense when he said that let's move to geoeconomics. Geostrategy chhod do. It's not going to happen. Let's move to geoeconomics. This is a forward-looking general. Even though I am no fan of the Pakistan army, I don't even like the Pakistan army for what they've done in India by aiding and abetting terrorism, and what they've done to their own country. That's none of my business what they've done to their own country, but fact of the matter is I think General Bajwa today is making a lot of sense. And Imran Khan should listen to his army chief. Their foreign policy imperatives have always been Kashmir. And I'll tell you how Kashmir has impacted Pakistan's economy. Why are people not investing in Pakistan? You see, there are 2-3 reasons, and the primary reason is security. There is lack of security in Pakistan, which is why nobody wants to play cricket in Pakistan. Nobody wants to invest money. Forget about cricket. You know, they said that India is behind the New Zealand team's cancellation. All right? It is an Indian conspiracy. Fine. If you say it's an Indian conspiracy, for the sake of academic debate, we will accept for a minute that, okay, since you're saying it, we accept it's an Indian conspiracy. Now, my next question to the Pakistanis would be, why aren't people investing in your country? Forget about cricket. Forget about cricket. Why aren't people coming with big checkbooks and investing in your country? It's an unstable country, right? Number 2, there is a huge safety and security problem. And number 3, there are almost no returns. Unless the government guarantees returns, like in the case of the Chinese. And then, it's nothing but the East India Company. So, Pakistan's foreign policy imperatives have always been Kashmir and Palestine and their geostrategic location. That's all that Pakistan talks about. And the world is not interested, but Pakistan keeps on pushing this at every platform. It takes money because it wants to fuel the Kashmir narrative. If India has a missile, we need a bigger missile. If India has a ship, we need a bigger ship. Kashmir banega Pakistan, and all that nonsense that they spout every now and then. Here is a country that has almost no economic base. It exists on loans. And then the fear psychosis is such in its own mind that India will come and eat us up. So buy more weapons, take more loans. They don't realize. And finally, I think Imran Khan is on the right track. Their biggest national security problem, and even Fawad Hussain Chaudhry, their minister, their cabinet minister, recently said, last week, if I'm not mistaken, Bhavya, he also said that, you know, our problems are internal, our problems are not external. India is not a threat. India was never a threat. We never wanted to attack Pakistan. We have never attacked Pakistan. I don't know whatever has been taught to the kids in Pakistani schools here. बच्चों को क्या पढ़ाते हैं ये लोग, nobody knows. But if you read the books of their own general, read the books of General Ayub Khan, read the books of General Yahya Khan, read the book In the Line of Fire of General Parvez Musharraf. You see, read the biography of General Ziaul Haq. You know, these generals are very proud, and they proudly claim that we attacked India. You see, General Ayub Khan is very proud. 1965, we attacked India. In Akhnur, we sent our tanks across the line of control. They're very proud that they attacked India.
You see, the problem with the Pakistani mindset is you do something and then you lie to your own children and you tell lies. Pakistan studies, which is a subject with all Pakistani kids, that is why that nation is in a mess. You know, they read these textbook of Pakistan studies, and this is how their foreign policy impacts money, right? You don't have exports. Your remittances
are down to a trickle, right? Because you have no expert manpower. You have all these plumbers and carpenters. I don't mean to look down upon any trade. Everybody is in an honorable profession. Anybody who's honestly earning his money is a good man or a woman. But the problem with Pakistan is that there is no depth. There is no depth in their human resource. The people, the masses of Pakistanis who are working outside are, a vast majority of them are people who are at the bottom of the skill ladder. Which is not to say that Indians don't do jobs like these. There are Indian taxi drivers, there are Indian plumbers and carpenters, there are Indian laborers outside. Why not? But at the same time, Indians also have their CEOs in top companies. Indians also have stakes in very big companies. Right from Pepsi to Microsoft to, I don't want to go through the names of all those companies. I mean, there are Indians in NASA. There are Indians everywhere. So, while we have people working at the so-called lower levels in the economic hierarchy, we also have people working at the very top. And slowly we're working to improve our skill set. But in Pakistan, they have cut off their diplomatic relations with the world because Imran Khan chose to speak about Islamophobia and not Pakistan and no other Muslim country. There are 57 or 58 of them. Nobody speaks about Islamophobia except for Imran Khan. He's fascinated by Islamophobia. And he does not understand that he's causing harm because France is not Islamophobic. France gives more rights to French Muslims than any Muslim country in the world. All 57 of them. France gives more rights. And yet Imran Khan has a problem with France, he has a problem with Europe, he has a problem with Canada, with the United States, with New Zealand, with Australia. He has a problem with the rest of the world. And these are their foreign policy imperatives, self-inflicted, that are causing a harm to Pakistan's own economy. The Hindu community in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, now there are hardly any Hindus in Pakistan, hardly. There are pockets of Hindus in Sindh, but otherwise all throughout Pakistan, they've finished off all the Hindus, right? There are no Hindus there, hardly any Sikhs, very few Christians, killed off everybody, converted everybody. But the fact of the matter is that they attacked this temple, and then the courts came into action and FIRs were filed, reports were filed in the police stations, and the court said that some 30 million rupees odd, 30 million rupees will be Pakistani rupees will be the fine, and the perpetrators of this crime, the people who desecrated that Hindu temple, right, they will be required to pay. And these were Pakistani Muslims who had gone in a crowd and broken into that temple and desecrated the temple. I think we showed images of that also on our channel, if I remember correctly. Now what happened was that there was a lot of pressure on the local Hindus in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, to uphold interfaith harmony. So what they did was, under pressure, the Hindus of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa decided, we will collect the money and we will pay the fine which the courts had imposed on the attackers. So here the victim is saying, and I'm giving an example, an analogy by which I hope I can explain to our viewers, a robber or a thief comes to my house, he steals my life's savings, all right? He steals my money, he steals everything, he gets caught, and then the judge says to the thief that you will go to prison for 10 years. And in a bid to appease the thief, I say, all right, I will go to prison on your behalf, but please don't steal from my house. This is what is happening in Pakistan. The country is 96-97% Muslim, overwhelmingly. And interfaith harmony is now the responsibility, quote unquote, of a fast disappearing Hindu population. This has been done under duress. And in various interviews, the Hindus there have told media persons that this is done under duress. So, well, they are paying the fine for somebody breaking into their temple and destroying their own temple. So this is what is happening. And unfortunately, I mean, whatever the courts have said in Pakistan, the fact of the matter is, it's actually supposed to be a great victory. It's supposed to be a great religious victory, 10,000 people will get together, smash a temple. And somehow it's supposed to be very heroic. Somehow it's supposed to be very good. Somehow it's supposed to be great in terms of getting you rewards in the hereafter. So that is the Pakistani mindset for you. But with this loan that the IMF was, giving Pakistan, that's not come through actually. It was, I think, a $6 billion package, the entire deal, but they said $1 billion pehle denge. Now, there are certain terms and conditions that Pakistan has to adhere to. And then they will go back to their directors, the IMF. And I think it's the first or second week of December. And then the loan will be released in case Pakistan meets those conditions. And what is happening in Pakistan is that, IMF is obviously concerned. IMF does not levy taxes, it does not collect taxes. Yeah, IMF is given money by various countries for helping people, for helping people of certain countries. Let's say the Pakistani people or the state of Pakistan, right? In this case, they're giving money. But Pakistan, people have stolen Pakistan's wealth. Imran Khan says that he's individually honest. That doesn't cut any ice. He is the Prime Minister of 22 crore Pakistanis, no? So whether he's individually honest or dishonest, that doesn't matter. His own cabinet is highly corrupt. And these people will keep on taking loans, they'll keep on taking money, they'll steal the money and send the money abroad. There's a joke in Pakistan that whenever Pakistan gets a loan, right? Whenever Pakistan gets a massive aid package, the property prices in London and Dubai go up. Because they know that now this loan money from Pakistan is coming, and every Pakistani child, even unborn, is under at least 2 lakh rupees loan. That's what I hear. And that's not a bad thing in a way, because India also takes loans here. Every country takes loans. People do business on other people's money. Nobody does it on their own money. And countries take loan. It's only Pakistan that has no program, it has no vision, it has no intent of paying back that money. So, and IMF knows that. So IMF will give money and then tell Pakistan that raise the price of petrol by 4 rupees for the next 4 months or 5 months or 6 months. Raise the price of gas. What happens is that whatever little is left of Pakistan's exports then becomes uncompetitive. Simply because, the price of manufacturing goes up, the price of electricity goes up, the price of transportation goes up, the price of everything goes up, the price of raw material goes up. So how do you manufacture? And they have GSP Plus from Europe, which gives them certain concessions while they export to Europe. But again, Imran Khan just can't keep his mouth shut. He has to talk nonsense against France. France is the leader of the European Union after Brexit. Earlier it was thought to be Britain, but Britain is no longer part of the European Union. It is now France. You're upsetting France. And they keep on talking nonsense about various countries without getting into details. He's not traveled to Europe, Imran Khan, ever since he came to power. My Pakistani friends tell me maybe a day's trip to Switzerland. Otherwise, Imran Khan has not even gone to Europe. Diplomatic relations between Pakistan and the rest of the world are at an all-time low. And this entire IMF loan thing, of course IMF will give them the money. Of course IMF will give them the money. Of course Saudi will give them some money. Of course the World Bank will give them some money. But is this how a country is supposed to exist? Is this how a country is supposed to run? Is this how a country, looks at its own future? That keep giving us money. It doesn't happen. One day you have to pay back that money. And when people ask for their money, then Pakistanis play victim. That, they're asking for their money back because they finally want our nuclear assets. IMF just wants its money back. Give them the money. and your nuclear assets are safe.